knock everybody out, and I do pretty good at it. I got the hammer.
Cletus, did you win the night? Did you steal the show?
Absolutely. I've said that before. It doesn't matter from the first fight or the last fight. My fights are always the best because I come to fight. And you can see I come to fight, but I still don't get hit. It's very hard to hit me. I got this little peanut head. It's like really small. It works really good for my profession. And it's been an honor and a great memory to start my second part of my career here.
Who do you want next, pal?
I want, well, since Crawford is gone, I would have loved Crawford. Crawford would have been a great opportunity for me because I would have gave him his best fight because of my style. It would have been the Bull and the Matador, and that would have been fantastic. But the whole division is open right now, and I would love to get a title fight right after this. I just fought the guy with the best record in the division. The guy was 35-1. That is a lot of fights. And he had 20-plus knockouts. I had 20 fights. You can see the difference in how my pedigree and how serious I take this.
Joe, who's on the radar?
Look, it's a great division. 140 pounds, a hot division. A lot of activity there, a lot of good fighters there. You know, like Cletus says, there's so many of them. Obviously, the title fights are there. But if you look at certain styles, Mickey Garcia, what a war that would be. The other man who beat Ortiz was Lucas Matisse. Great war fight. You know, those are big names and good names. But we're looking to step up. He's ready, and he's looking for the biggest out there. And I think we got the hardest puncher in the junior welterweight division.
Joe, he had great support here again tonight with the telecast being on HBO, performing as he did. Do you think this is a big profile boost for Cletus?
Absolutely. I mean, how can it not be? When you can go on the show, first off, and have the kind of crowd support that he had, bring in the support that he had here in a big Coliseum, and then perform the way he performed. You can see his crowd. It's a vocal crowd. It's a loud crowd. It's a crowd that really supports him. And not only have that kind of crowd support, but perform the way he performed. That's what the fans want to see. They want to see action. They want to see fun. They want to see excitement. This is excitement. You walk out there, you bang a guy out, and keep punching and keep going, nonstop, beat that bull. You know, that's what the fans want to see. Exciting fighters. This is one of them.
He's mentioned he wants a world title shot or get a title shot next. It's your job to plan that route. What's the preferred route, Joe, from here?
You know, preferred route is grabbing the guy that will get in the ring with him, getting the biggest name, and getting him to that title. You know, he wants that title fight, but look, I got to tell you, for the past year and a half, 2 years, he's been asking me for the biggest fights. He knows and feels that he can fight the best out there, and he wants to fight the best out there, and that's what we're looking for.
Congratulations, Cletus. Great performance tonight. Just wondering if you can comment. You have a very unique style, sort of fight with an elbow out guard. Just wondering how you would describe your own style in that way with that distinct guard and how you developed it.
I developed it through Pete Brodsky. Pete Brodsky knew the type of fighter that I was, and because he trained so many different world champions, he knew that I'm not the tallest guy in the division, ever, and that I can stay low, and if I can stay low enough and try to develop a great right hand, because I used to have a better left hook, that I can come forwards, and I don't really lead with my elbow, I lead with my forearm, and it's their fault when they attack me if they lead in with their head, like Ortiz did. I didn't even hit him. He hit himself over my forearm, and it's a grueling style. It's a throwback style. This is how we learned it. I watch, even when I watch Holyfield, I watch Henry Armstrong, LaMotta, all those guys, after their fights were over, you could tell that their arms were bruised, the top of their head, their shoulders, they were all beaten up all over the place, not just a bunch of headshots, because they were getting hit with forearms and consistently getting ground and pound in the entire fight.
So this was, on paper, your toughest opponent, but it was probably your most sensational winner, at least one of them. Did you think that it would go this way, that you would get him out of there that fast?
I thought we were going to do it in 5 rounds, but then I went back and I thought and remembered that this psychic came to me just like 6 months ago, and she said that I was going to knock this guy out in the first round with like a Jason Bourne overhand right. And I was like, huh, I guess it's going to be true. And it actually turned out. And she said I was going to fight in November. So Grace, you did a pretty good job.
This is for both Joe D and Cletus. There's a fight out there that I know Cletus has wanted for a number of years. Joe, if you can't get the title shot, would you try and get Chris Algieri back in the ring with Cletus? It's an awesome local rivalry and be a great fight to fill the stands.
There are so many story angles to that fight, it would be spectacular. So, absolutely, that's a great fight. Cletus has been asking me for that fight since Cletus was a 6-round fighter fighting on the undercards of Chris. And I know this year, in his last fight, Cletus, the two of them have fought at the Paramount. Chris had the most number of fights. This last fight, September 28th, that Cletus had, he took that over. Has more fights, main events at the Paramount than anybody now. So there's so many different aspects to it. Obviously, it's a great fight stylistically. And you look at this building, you got to think this building would love to have that fight. I was outside. Joe Smith was sitting there watching Cletus in this last fight just now, and he was itching to get back into the building. What a fight he could have next week, maybe March. Put a fight between Cletus and Chris. Maybe put Joe on the card, pack the place. There's a lot of potential and possibility out here, and it's really pleasing that all of these guys that we're mentioning have come out of the Paramount, a small little place on Long Island, developed from Long Island, and now we have a hotbed of boxing here in Long Island and a perfect venue to have it at the Nassau Coliseum. Very, very pleasing. And by the way, it also is pleasing when you see that your fighter comes out there and electrifies the crowd, fights the way he fought. It's the kind of style, the kind of fighter fans want to see. This is what brings people to watch television, watch the fights, puts them in the seats, exciting fights. And he's got the style for that.
Yeah, Chris won't fight me.
He might fight you now.
He said he won't do it. He won't do it.
If there are any other questions, I appreciate it. We both appreciate it. We're very pleased of the support of the fans, the media, HBO, and the Nassau Coliseum. Thank you all.
Thank you, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the fight. I try to put as much entertainment into it as possible, and I come there to fight. I'm out.
Hey, what? Sorry.
Salita, what grade did you give Big Baby?
Jarrell, hey, this was his first scheduled 12-round fight. He stopped the guy that has not been stopped by Vladimir Klitschko. Thank you. It means a lot to me.
I know.
He gave himself an F.
He stopped the guy. That's great.
He
Because
gave
Jarrell,
himself, yeah.
So let's just talk about the facts. The facts is that this was a very tough, durable guy who has not been stopped by Vladimir Klitschko. Stopped, I think, in the 12th round by Povetkin on the cut. Not really stopped. So Jarrell broke him down. He stopped him. The corner stopped the fight. I believe that had the fight went on, it would have been a spectacular type of stoppage that people were looking for. And Jarrell was very active, throwing a lot of punches, breaking this guy down. And again, another learning curve, another big step in the right direction. In the last two fights, Jarrell beat the two best guys that he's ever fought. And Jarrell has less than 20 professional fights. So the fact that he has such a big personality and he's from Brooklyn, New York, so there's a lot of expectations. And I think that Jarrell is living up to those expectations. But obviously, everybody always wants to see more. And, a guy like Wak has never really been, knocked out, knockout, drag-out type of fight. And I think Jarrell was on his way, but the fight got stopped before he was getting ready to do that.
Jarrell, did you know early on that this wasn't you feeling at your very best? Did you know in round one or going into the ring? Or?
I think I knew since the last week of training camp. I told myself, I said, don't matter what you're going through, your body feel, let's make sure your conditioning was on point, because like I said, camp was just rough on the body. The elbow was just hurting, you know. I was getting massages and therapy on it from like a month and a half ago, you know. So I told myself the main thing is, listen, man, this is boxing. If I get through this, I get through anything, you know, because it's mental, you know. And I told myself if the power wasn't there, the conditioning got to be there, you know. And I had fun, even though I got hit with a couple shots, it didn't hurt me. The main thing was trying to stay in his chest. He tried to lay on me a couple of times. You know, he was taller than me, so I just made sure I just relaxed and had some fun, you know. Like I said, I give my rating today an F because it wasn't my best performance, and I was lighter. So even my last fight was heavier. I think I felt a lot stronger. I felt a lot better. I was able to push him back a lot more. But I took my time, and like I said, I take a sloppy win over a good loss any day, you know. And it's boxing, man. You know, like I said, Anthony Joshua fought who before he got a title shot? Who did Deontay fight before he got a title shot? I fight 2 top 10 guys already, and I'm not even guaranteed a title shot yet. So I say, you know, I take it for what it is. I take it as a blessing that I'm taking a harder route, because when I get there, they're going to have to kill me to get it away from me, you know. It's part of boxing, though, you know, it's a learning experience. Like I said, you know, Rock was a cool guy. You know, there was no, like, animosity. There was no really anger towards him. It was just business, you know. But Deontay and them dudes, I don't like them. So it's going to be a lot different, you know. So it's fun, man.
You know, and I do want to say that even though he had a great performance, the fact that he has so much more potential, and the expectations are so high because he has so much more potential, is great for Jarrell, because he just did the best out of 2 guys. Vladimir Klitschko, one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, Povetkin, Olympic gold medalist, multi-time world champion, one of the best heavyweights in the world. You know, they stopped him in the 12th round. And, well, only Povetkin stopped him on a cut in the 12th round, and Jarrell stopped him, you know, way before the 10th round.
I only sparred twice for this fight. Just to let y'all know, sparred twice. It was hard to get sparring partners. And Adam Kornacki, Adam Kornacki was my own sparring partner I already had, and he left last week to go train with Povetkin, you know. And you know, like I said before, it's hard for me to get sparring partners, and that's why last night was so hard for me to even fight Adam, because that's one of my best friends since I started as an amateur, and he's one of the only sparring partners that actually show up, you know. And it was great, man. Like I said, I had fun. It was good to put on for my city, and I'm glad it wasn't the best performance, because when you perform too good, guys don't want to fight. So I think, you know, it is what it is. Hopefully it was just the right amount of, you know, effort, so it's when these guys think I'm not working and they call me out, and that's when they're going to slip up, because I know for a fact I still throw more punches than them, you know what I mean, and I still move better than a lot of the other guys.
Do you feel that this helped or hurt your cause for getting one of those fights?
I think it definitely helps, you know, because sometimes you can't look too great, you know, you got to look just enough so one of these guys, oh, you know what, I can beat them. Because if you look at all these heavyweight champions that have belts right now, none of them really got big cojones, if you look at it, because none of them really want to fight for another guy for a title. If you watch how their attitude is, it's more about the money for them. Joseph Parker wants money. You know, he's not really fighting, oh, I want to fight Anthony Joshua, really want to fight Deontay. Deontay's really chasing Anthony Joshua for the money. When he got the belt, he wasn't really trying to fight any top contenders. I'm telling you, give me any one of them, and I'll fight him. Sometimes I say, I've not turned down one fight yet. They told me, listen, we got WAP. I'm like, when? Okay, give it to me. Jarrell Washington, I had 3.5, 4 weeks notice. I'm like, okay. 11 months old, give it to me. You know what I mean? So it's not, I haven't turned on a fight yet, and these are guys that are top 10. I don't know how some of them stood there, but they're top 10 guys they gave me. You know what I mean? So, like I said, man, if anybody got the cojones, man, I definitely know it's me.
It's a very exciting time in the heavyweight division. There's lots of different flavors in the division. Here we have a guy from Brooklyn, New York, right here at home, who talks the talk and walks the walk. He truly, you know, calls all the guys out, and he fights the best available contenders.
Jarrell,
Truly.
you didn't seem like you had the fear factor this week from Arias Wack.
Yeah.
Someone like Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, will you get off that? Will you get the fear factor? Will that give us a better performance from yourself?
Yeah, most definitely. I think every opponent is going to give you a certain kind of energy and a certain kind of, you know, charisma, or it's going to give you a certain kind of feel. Like I said, this fight was really about moving and trying to get the weight down and see move around this big guy. But like I said, Anthony Joshua, I'm going to be a totally different animal, because I don't like none of them. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a totally different energy, a totally different big baby. Like I said, we try to bring the weight down to kind of please you guys, the media, to kind of show I could bring the weight down. But like I said, everybody's different. You see what I'm trying to say? A lot of you guys, but you know, I prefer big baby at 290 something. Some guy already told me that. And I said, you know what it was? I did no weight training for this fight whatsoever, no push-ups. What I did was crunches and cardio. You know, and I felt like it kind of hindered myself, because I should have stuck to what I regularly do. You know, but say it's boxing, it's a learning experience, it's a learning curve, and it's back to the drawing board.
You mentioned Anthony Joshua. May I ask why you dislike Anthony Joshua?
He got what I want. It's part of the game. That's all. I don't dislike him as a person. And I know he's put on his front as a Calvin Klein model, but hey, I'm from the streets. I'm gonna run him over.
So would it be business more than personal with Joshua for yourself?
Yeah, but you know, part of boxing is all mental. You know, you gotta kind of create this image about a person in order to walk through them. You know, Wack was one of those guys that didn't even speak English, so it was hard for me to even talk junk about it. It didn't make sense, you know what I mean? So I kind of went the other route because that's where I really am too. I'm a nice, loving guy, but when the switch comes on to be a killer, I'm a killer. You know. So, but like I said, I know AJ been fighting a bunch of bums, and I just can't wait to wash him up.
The big story, as we know, this week has been: will it happen? Wilder, AJ. If that fight was to happen, who would you pick to be victorious?
Maybe ask me this a couple times. Let me think. Any damn body, because I'm a fighter. You know, I prefer AJ. Why? Because more money. Is he not as powerful as Deontay? Or why? Deontay's powerful is not enough money. I'm a fighter, man. I'm a warrior. I go in there with any one of them. You know what I mean? So
who would you pick to win out each of those if they were to fight each other?
If I take myself out of the equation, from what I've seen lately, I think Deontay. And the reason why it's a wild, crazy man. There's a whole bunch of windmills, and if one of them clip you get hurt. And AJ doesn't really move his head. He's really stiff. He doesn't really get low on shots. He's not a great counter puncher. He does get hit by guys who are smaller, shorter, and slower than Deontay. So I kind of give the edge to Deontay as of now. But like I said, you know, Deontay is more than natural-looking guy, 220, athletic-looking dude, and AJ looked like a small bodybuilder, a shrink bodybuilder. And muscles don't help your chin, so you know he's been dropped and hurt in sparring and fights. Deontay has been hurt a couple times in sparring, but not in fights as we can't really see, you know.
So, congratulations on your win tonight.
Kudos, thank you.
On paper, very, very good performance. I mean,
Yeah.
relative to Wack's opponents in practice, an ugly fight. I think you've acknowledged that
Yeah.
as well. Coming in, did you expect it to play out differently than it did? Did you think
I
spectacular knockout?
Yeah, I think, no, I know it's going to be spectacular. He's a tough dude. I think my main thing was I was going to beat him with a lot of shots. My main thing was I was going to land so many shots on him that he was going to forfeit and the referee was going to see something in it. But for some reason, I didn't have that pop that I really wanted to, and my trainer said, just touch him. Just keep touching him, touching him, touching him. Hit him in joints, hit him on something, just keep touching him, and eventually start to fold. And there was rounds where I was like, why just can't let go of the shot, you know? And I was really, because I didn't really want to tweak the elbow any more than what it was. So I just touched him, had some fun, and mentally I was having fun, you know? Sometimes I thought about the elbow, kind of took me out of my game plan, but the main thing is getting the win, you know? Like I said, it's part of boxing. You're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days, but I'm still fighting top 10 contenders, and I'm not even a title shot yet. So it's boxing, man. But learning experience, man. Learning experience.
So, next question. So, Eddie Hearn has repeatedly said that Dillian White has a date, February 3rd, O2 Arena. He's trying to push Wilder for that fight. What would you say if Eddie Hearn offers?
I take it like this. I'm gonna take myself out of it and put in a promotional point for you guys, and take myself out of the equation. Give it an unbiased look. The biggest fight right now at this point is Deontay and AJ. We all know that. Respectfully, okay, cool. They should fight. Okay, fine. The next fight on the table for me that makes any sense would be Dillian White. If Joseph Parker wants to make his TV, Joseph Parker. I mean, those two fights for me realistically that make sense for me at this point, because who are they really fighting? You know, Joseph Parker fought Hughie Fury, who I know didn't deserve a title shot. But, you know, his promoter knows who's who and got him a title shot. You know, Dillian White is not a mandatory. I think Dillian White should come see me. I think that'd be a great fight. And then the winner of that get AJ Deontay. I think that's actually fair. Even though I already fought top 10 contenders, guys ain't fighting nobody. You know what I mean? But I said I would like that fight to happen, get it out the way, okay, and I get the winner of that, or I take Joseph Parker. But ain't nobody gonna call me out right now, man. It is what it is. I know Joseph Parker, he a punk. You know, he just came in super sloppy against Hughie Fury. I don't know what the hell he was doing in that fight. He should have stopped him, but it is what it is. Thanks for that.
Dimitri, you gonna right here, Dimitri, right here.
Yes.
I think Jarrell's onto something there. I think Parker seems like the next logical step. Are you gonna put out some feelers to Parker's people in New Zealand? Is it something you're gonna talk to HBO about getting a date, or what is your game plan for Mr. Jarrell Big Baby Miller?
Yeah. Good question, Kurt. First of all, obviously boxing, their politics, and Parker is with a different network and a different promoter. So that fight may or may not work out. The Dillian White fight, Jarrell is highly rated in every ranking organizations. We're gonna try to make him the mandatory in 1 or 2, so that this way, the ranking organizations can put the politics aside to the best of their ability, and we can make the biggest fights for him. I think, like Jarrell said, a fight with Dillian White makes a lot of sense, and it puts Jarrell into a great position to fight either one of the champions.
Hey. You love my cheeseburger, man. You ask all these questions.
No cheeseburger,
gifts,
man.
No, what's going on, man?
Good performance tonight, nephew, but like you did say, you didn't have that pop. And what would you say, what can we attribute that to? The fact that you didn't feel that you had that pop, but you were busy.
Yeah, I was busy. I think definitely overtrained the elbow. Definitely from the last fight going into this fight, I didn't really take that much time off. I think the main thing right now is just focus on getting it looked at, get it rehab therapy, and get it back in the right order, because definitely to fight the top guys, I want to have all my tools, Even though I beat up on Watt, I didn't have all my tools there. And as a fighter, you got to be realistically, sometimes you have good days and bad nights. To me, it was definitely a bad night, but I still got the win. And to make this going back to the drawing board and fixing and tweaking what needs to be fixed, And there's a lot of fighters, they want to, I deserve a shot. Like Dillian White, he deserves a shot because he beat Hellenius, but he looked like garbage. Our main thing is that you got to be realistically with yourself as a fighter and go back and fix those things, And that's the main thing, is going back to the drawing board and fix it.
That sounds really good to me. Always remember, a bad win beats a good loss any day.
Any day.
Thank you.
Yeah. No problem, guys. Let's go. Cheeseburger.
I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight, and I just want to say on behalf of Rock Nation, first of all, congrats to Danny Jacobs for a great fight, but I just want to say that we are extremely proud of this kid right next to us here. He fought his heart out under tough conditions. I think he proved tonight that he belongs to be considered right up there with the top middleweight contenders in the world, and he will be back. Ladies and gentlemen, Luis Arias.
First off, I'd like to thank HBO for once again approving me to be on the stage. Thanks to my team, John and Gil. We had a great training camp. I left it all on the line. I trained my ass off for this fight, and it just didn't go our way tonight. What can I say? Jacobs fought a great fight. I thought he was a lot bigger than what I expected. I honestly thought the size wouldn't be a difference, but he proved that it was. He did his thing. I can't complain. No excuses. I wanted to fight my heart out, and I wanted to leave it out there. I talked myself up because I knew I belonged, and I know I do belong. Tonight was just not my night. After about the second or third round, my leg my foot was burning. And I couldn't really just get off, and Jacobs fought the smart fight. He controlled his distance good, he used his size very well. He was quick, he was strong, and he was fast. This is nothing but a great learning experience for me. They always say, true champions, that by the time you fight for a world title, if you don't have any losses, you haven't really learned. So this is nothing but a great learning experience for me. I would like to congratulate Team Jacobs. You guys did your part. You did your thing. He held his own in there, and he did very good. I was supposed to lose. He was supposed to knock me out. I was on one foot for most of the fight, and I held my own. Like I said, nothing but a learning experience. I will be back. I will be back again next year. Thanks to all the fans. Thanks to everyone who supported me. And like I said, Team Arias will be back. I have a great style. The fans are gonna love me. It is what it is. I learned, and back to the drawing board.
Luis, I really have to give you a lot of credit for your defense. I thought it was great. I put it to people on Twitter. I said, maybe the kid's stock goes up. He was so great defensively. I'll be honest, a lot of people on Twitter, though, are saying he talked a really good game and then was more defensive-minded than we expected. So people, I feel like, weren't agreeing with me. What grade do you give yourself overall? Yeah, you survived the fight, but I guess people were expecting maybe more offense.
Yeah, man, bad grade. You know, like I said, I couldn't really get off. You know what I mean? Like, I'm very good with my right hand, you know, and I couldn't just plant my right foot. You know what I mean? So it was hard for me to time them. You know, in the beginning of the fight, I was able to see certain openings, and then just my body wouldn't allow me to see these openings as the fight went on. You know, like I said, Jacobs fought a very good, smart, composed fight, and he showed that he's been there before. This is my first time on that stage. I fought my heart out. You know, like I said, he should have stopped me. You know, I was never really hurt. You know, he caught me with a couple good shots, but I caught him as well. You know what I mean? I feel like the size difference was definitely helped in his favor. But like I said, I'll be back. You know what I mean? I'll be stronger. If I would have had both my feet most of the fight, you know, I would have been a lot more offensive. You know, but like I said, it just wasn't my night. Jacobs had a great night, and we'll be back.
Was he as good as you expected, or better, or worse?
He was a lot smarter than I thought. You know, usually Jacobs get careless. You know, so a part of me, you know, wanting to talk it up was to make him get careless. And he was getting a little careless, but he was also getting composed. You know, he was just a lot bigger. You know what I mean? Like, I thought my shots would affect him a lot more, but he found a way. He found a way to win. You know what I mean? So like I said, I had no excuses. I left it all in the gym. I try to leave it all in the ring tonight. And Jacobs was just a better man tonight, and I will be back.
Luis, commiserations firstly on great performance. Did you expect Jacobs to be as relentless as he was in walking you down and taking the fight to you?
Initially, not at first, you know what I mean? Like, but everyone's game plan is different once that bell rings, you know what I mean? And like I said, man, I was fighting on one foot for 85% of the fight, you know? Like, I felt like the first 3-4 rounds was a little tactical. And then after that, you know what I mean, I couldn't get off, you know what I mean? Like, I just couldn't. My foot was on fire. I mean, and I don't want to make any excuses, you know, but it's hard to shoot over. I got a perfect right hand, a very strong over right hand. And it's hard to plant that over right hand when your foot is on fire. You know what I mean? So, but like I said, Jacobs is very smart, very experienced. The big guy, he uses size, he uses intelligence, and he won the fight. You know what I mean? But like I said, he should have knocked me out, and I was able to go to 12. So.
Was the fact that he kept pressing forward, did that bother you?
Not at all. You know what I mean? I actually wanted him to do that. You know what I mean? So I could get him to open up. You know, but again, it's hard to counter somebody when you only got one foot. You know what I mean? And I just, you know, no excuses. You know, he was a better man tonight. You know, he did his thing. He found a way to win. You know, he controlled the distance pretty good, and he, you know, he was the victor tonight.
Can you elaborate on your foot being on fire? What is,
And I don't know, like, you know, like I said, the first 3 rounds, you know, it was real cool, real tactical. We were both moving, you know, I was shooting shots, you know, he was shooting shots. And I just must have stepped on it, and I just, you know, I got a blister the size of a baseball on my right foot, you know. And like the moment I took my shoe off, like my whole sock was bloody. You know, so it's kind of hard to, like I said, it's hard for me to plant my foot. My foot just kept burning. But it's part of adversity, you know what I mean? I was able to stick it through. I still try to fight my heart out. I really wanted a war, you know what I mean? I really wanted to sit there and duke it out with Jacobs, you know what I mean? And I took, you know what I mean? I took what I could. I tried my hardest to try to duke it out with him. But, you know, like I said, he was the bigger, smarter man tonight, and he showed it, you know, and congrats, like I said, I can't say congrats to Jacobs, but I will be back, man. I will be back. It was a great learning experience for me.
Just talking about the size differential real quick, is there a possibility that you would maybe fit better at 154?
We've talked about it, but I don't know. I mean, I didn't smoke every other middleweight but Jacobs. Jacobs is by far the biggest middleweight that I've seen in the whole division. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I'm pretty sure I can hold my own with anyone else, but just tonight was not my night. You know what I mean? I will be back. I will climb back. If in a year or two the Jacob fight presents itself again, you know, I'm jumping on it, you know. But right now it's just back to the drawing board. It's back to getting better, back to learning. And like I said, if people who don't have a loss prior to their first crack at that world title really haven't learned anything. So, like I said, another learning experience for me.
Congrats on a really spirited fight. I mean, you put up a terrific fight. You just said going back to the drawing board. Is there anybody you'd like, now that you're on a world stage, people know who you are now, is there anybody that, like, right on your radar, like, I'd like him next? Not who you want, but who you really think is tangible?
I was willing to fight anyone in the division. You know what I mean? And I still say that. You know what I mean? Like I said, Jacobs was a great fight, and I learned a lot from that. You know what I mean? And I will be a lot better in my next fight. And I'm willing to fight anybody. You know, we'll be back to the drawing board. I hope to come back, you know, early next year. And the Jacobs fight was presented to me in one day, and I took it. So we'll wait and see. I'm going to sit back and talk to my team, see what they think. You know, I talked a good game. I tried my hardest to back it up, you know what I mean? And I will get better. And my next go around here on the big stage will only get better and better. You know, I'm only 27 years old. I'm barely touching my prime. And like I said, you guys want to see a better Luis Arias next time.
You also mentioned Danny's height gave you a little bit of a problem. From ringside, it appeared the top ring rope was maybe 8-10 inches higher than normal. I mean, the heavyweights didn't look like big behemoths that they are. Did you feel a difference? Does that throw your game off at all?
Honestly, after the third round, I was just thinking about my foot. You know what I mean? The ring was just the ring. You know what I mean? Like, there's no excuses. You know what I mean? Like, the ring can be woo woo. It is what it is. You know, Jacobs was just smart tonight. You know what I mean? I was hoping he would just get careless, and he did get careless a couple of times, and he got caught. You know, but him having that size he was able to take the punch. You know what I mean? So. No excuses, man. Jacobs did a great job. You know, he looked like an elite fighter. You know, so.
You did too.
Thank you. And I'm only gonna get better.
John, were you concerned about the size differential going into the fight? Do you feel like you had enough time to work with Luis? I mean, he's reiterated a couple different times now about the size differential.
I wasn't worried so much about Daniel. Good fighter, very good fighter. I was concerned with the weight. And maybe here's about the problem with boxing today. You know, you have all these sanctioned bodies, you know, they want all the money from these guys, but they don't stick by the rules. And here's why I'm saying that. And even with the commission, I don't care if they get mad or not. Here's the problem. Danny weighed 159.6 yesterday. But he wouldn't step on the scale today. What did he, you know, why? Why? Because if you look at him, he was about a cruiserweight. And he was a cruiserweight. He's a big boy. Now look at him, I'm not listening. He won the fight. I got to give him that. But he was the bigger man. It wasn't a fair fight. Now, when I was champion, we weighed in the same day. We didn't get the next day to rehydrate and become either a middleweight, because I was junior middleweight and middleweight champion, either become super middleweight or heavyweight. We stayed within our limit. We didn't get that advantage. So, you know, if you really can't, if you can make the weight one day, but you can't make it the second day, then you broke the rules. Why were you in the second day? Because you know it was to your advantage to come in rehydrated about 180, 185. That's a cruiserweight. He looked bigger than Luis. Luis hit him with his best shot, but coming a couple of shots, didn't even move one.
Were you telling them to go into survival mode?
No, I tell them, listen, forget the survival mode. You got to fight. You got to be smart. But whatever he did, it didn't really work for him because this guy was big. He was, you know, he did what he had to do and he won the fight, but he was bigger. And anybody that was at ringside or even in just there, you see the weight advantage, the disadvantage that he had. And, you know, it worked to their advantage, and they got away with it, so you got to give them that. You know, he was bigger, way bigger. Boxing should go back to what it used to be. These guys, they come in the next day, rehydrated 20, 30 pounds, but they won the night before. What is that? Then if you can't make that weight the second day, then you should fight, you should move up. Don't take advantage like that and then use it to your advantage, and he's coming in maybe 170 at the most.
Do you know what he weighed tonight? I didn't watch.
They won't step on the
HBO.
scale. They won't step on the scale. That's what I'm saying. Come on.
No way.
And he won the fight, but guess what? He had an unfair advantage. He was bigger. And he knew that. And he used it to his advantage, so he won the fight. And I can't take that from him, but I will take the fact that you weren't even super middleweight. You weren't even light heavyweight. You were cruiserweight. And I guarantee you were in that range. And that's the big, you know, when you're fighting someone and he's about 170 the most, it shows. And then the bigger guy, so you can take his punch, you can walk him down. You can do things that you've never done in other fights. You can do that with Triple G. Because you didn't weigh that much. Even though you did weigh that much, you didn't do the same with Triple G. Because you ever do that with this kid, so he got away with it. And
boxing the sanctioning body should be not allowing that.
Well, listen, the sanctioning body, the commissioner, they shouldn't allow it. They got to step up. They say that for the betterment of the fighters and their health. What were they? Why did they make him listen? I don't care who the fighter is. You know, you're not that much bigger than boxing. If these commissions and these sanctioned bodies step up, they step up for the money. They take out the fighters' purses, they definitely get their cut, but they don't step up for their well-being. If they did, they'd done it for this fight here and every other fight, and they should get on the bus and start doing it for everybody. That's how these guys get hurt. When I was fighting, that's what we did. We weighed in the same day. We used to win 12 noon, and then we fight 8 o'clock that night. You can put on 20, 30 pounds. Now, they do that now. These fighting, these commissions and these sanctioned bodies, they say nothing. When they get their money, they look the other way. That's the fighters.
Time for one last question.
Well, he just mentioned the fact that that Lewis weighed in at 170. Is that what you just said, right?
Yeah.
So let's play devil's advocate here for a second.
Come on.
Let's say Lewis fights a fighter who comes in at weighing in at 159, and then you come in at 170.
Okay.
And the fighter
Well, guess what? But the next day you're allowed 10 pounds. That's it. You can't pass 10 pounds.
Okay,
That's what I'm saying.
So you're saying you can't. You prefer that if the fighter's going to come in the next day weighing a certain weight, they shouldn't go past the.
Don't go 20, 30 pounds over the limit.
Okay.
Listen, if you want to be real fair, go back to when I fought. We weighed in the same day of the fight. You can put 20, 30 pounds back on. And if you say you care about boxing, these commissioners and these sanctioned bodies, do what's right, do it the right way, because these guys are getting crazy with putting his weight back on the next day.
So you're saying that the deck is stacked for a certain fighter in a favored position in boxing all too often?
Sometimes, unfortunately, it happens. And he's not crying about it. He's giving Jacobs all the praise, and I'm the one crying about it because it's not fair to boxing. It's not fair to the fans. It's not fair, period.
I mean, this fight was set up for Jacobs anyways. Like I said, we came into his backyard. The fight was offered Friday. It had to be said yes or no by the end of the day. Originally, we were going to fight for my USBA title, which would have forced the 10-pound weigh-in the next day. The first contract had it on there, but the commission contract didn't. So there was no 10-day weigh-in. There was no HBO weigh-in prior to the, they usually do the HBO weigh-in. There wasn't that. There's no excuses, Like I said, Jacobs just had a better night tonight. We will be better. We will be back. We're just back to the drawing board. This is just a great learning experience. I came to fight, my circumstances could have been better, but I left my heart out tonight. Sorry to the fans, but I will be back. I will become bringing wars. I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to keep selling myself. I'm going to keep selling these fights. Until, let's be real, I made this fight interesting. If it wasn't for me talking, the fight probably wouldn't have been as interesting as it was. And my foot wouldn't have been as burning like it was. It would have been a better fight too. But it is what it is. It's just a great learning experience for Team Arias. I'm just glad, that I was on the stage. I was able to get my name out there. And we're only going to get better from here. Like I said, the world title will be mine sooner than later, hopefully. And Team Arias will be back.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
I want to hear what Andre got to say.
No, I didn't. Lou, I just wanted to congratulate you on a fantastic effort. Besides all the talking and everything else, I'm a realist about this boxing thing. And I appreciate what you did in the ring tonight. I love you like I love everybody else that's boxing. You know how I am with that.
Yeah.
And just keep working hard. It was a great effort on your part. Don't lose the steam. Stay focused and keep driving. And the only thing I said, you mentioned about 160, me myself, and this is just from a coach's perspective, 54. I think you'll be a killer at 154. That's just my opinion, but keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, Dre. Might have to get that habit back.
Anytime.
Got me back on the habit.
Anytime. And stay off that foot. That's a nasty injury.
It's gonna get better. We'll get back. We'll be back.
You put him in a wheelchair, so you gonna start running the first over? Nobody wants to see your ass. Well, like big day.
feeling, man? How are you doing?
How you feel about that, Greg? All that weight song, that cruiserweight? Danny is cruiserweight?
No, I mean, honestly, I think it's what Lou was talking about. I don't know what
What do you think Danny did tonight?
I know that
171
He looked big.
Not cruiserweight.
No way.
Not even light heavyweight.
Not even light heavyweight.
How come he didn't want to step on? Where do you want? You wait. What do you think of that issue about, fighters can't be
'But it's only when it's not in your favor that people start being blamed. So if it happens, I bring my fighter to perform, I bring him to entertain, and get ready to work against whoever.
You think Danny might not come out?
So bottom line, John David, you think it's what? If you had Arias, would you be saying the same thing?
I would have never said what he just said.
You wouldn't have said that.
I would have said, this is what I would have said.
Yeah.
I'm going to take my charge back to the gym, and we're going to work on the things that'll make us a little bit more complete so we can succeed at that level. That's what I would say.
Now, Lewis seemed a little apprehensive about the 154, but I mean, all the middleweights are kind of big. Triple G's not small.
No.
Maybe Canelo's a little smaller on the height side,
right?
But he's still a big, wide guy.
Exactly.
And then Saunders and all of those guys are huge too. And Charlo, obviously, is a big, giant guy also.
But even the junior middleweights are big too.
Yeah, they are. But he is,
and her
from what I saw. Physically, I saw areas that could be.
He wasn't ripped.
No,
so he could definitely make.
I saw
54.
areas that could be worked on, and I think he could make 54 if he tried. And I think he'd be a dangerous animal at 54 because he will come to fight. I will guarantee that much.
Did you notice him favoring his foot all during the fight, or was
Yeah, I saw it a few times. I didn't know what it was, but I saw it. So.
What did you think of the clinch fest?
Well, he didn't want to get hit. I mean, Danny can punch. He didn't want to get hit. And any chance he had to slow him down, that's what he was doing. And I don't blame him. If I don't want to get knocked out, I'm going to hold you too. I'm not going to be like, yeah, come on, I'm going to let you knock me out. No, I'm going to do whatever I can to limit your capability of putting me in an unconscious state.
Was Danny the sharpest Danny? I've seen him, I think I've seen him sharper.
Oh, he's been sharper, but he was trying. You know, the problem tonight was Danny was trying too hard. He was really trying to get the knockout instead of working for the knockout. And I was telling him, I said, son, let's work up and down, use your jab, let's go to the body and walk it up. He said, okay. And then the fever would hit him when he was in there. And I could see it. I'm like, oh, the fever's hit him again. He's hungry, and now he's going for that big shot because he knows he can punch. But Lewis took a good shot tonight, too.
I got to ask, what's it like having Chris Algieri's boxing mind, being the second man there?
Well, I mean, Chris is a fantastic athlete. I'm training him now, and I plan to make him so much better than he was. And he's an able and hungry student, so it's going to be an easy transition to get him where I would like him to be. And
Chris told me he's going back to 140.
Yes, we are going to vie at 140, and once he gets through with his legal situation with his former promoter, we're going to attack the scene, and he's going to be hot on that 140. He's going to be hot in that 140 division.
He told me he sparred Danny. Were you there for that, and what did that look like? What kind of looks did he give him?
I asked him to.
Okay.
And of course, Danny wasn't trying to unload him. It was good. It was good work, but I could see some of the things that I've worked on with Chris manifesting themselves in the sparring match, and I know that he's going to be ready when I cut him loose on the world.
Is that just going to bring more of a trainer rivalry between John David and Jackson?
No, not at all, because I'm going to make sure that Chris is right. That's the difference. And I'm not going to be sitting here stating what this or the other side. I'm going to take him some bigger ball. I want to make sure his combination is crisp. I want to make sure that he changes level and controls his hop. He's going to be ready. Let's do this. Hey. Looking sharp as a razor blade. Always.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for waiting around. A long night, a successful night, and another great performance by the miracle man, Daniel Jacobs. I think what you saw tonight was the difference between a world-class middleweight and an elite middleweight. A beautiful performance, masterclass. Out of the ring for 8 months. A little bit rusty, but you're not going to see the rust again. Already planning the next date for 2018. It'll be announced very, very soon. And I'm going to pass over to the miracle man, Daniel Jacobs, to say a few words.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys sticking around. I really felt like when I heard him in the first round, that was kind of a gift and a curse. Honestly, I wanted to go for the knockout, not just because I knew I could hurt him, but because of all the stuff that he was talking. I guess it was just in me just to stop him and prove a point. But in doing that, I could have did a little bit better as far as being sharp. But like my promoter said, we've been out the ring for a couple months, and it's only about getting sharp and staying active and making sure that it doesn't repeat itself. Much respect to Luis Arias and his team, but I did go out there and prove the point that I wanted to prove, which is that there's level to this game. And he was outmatched, and I knew the attributes that I brought to the table, that he wasn't able to deal with it, and that's exactly what we showed. I'm looking forward to bigger and better things. The future is very, very bright. Even though this, to me, wasn't the best performance, I'm looking forward to having the best performance in the near future. So, thank you guys, always, and we can go to some questions.
Danny, not sure if you caught the tail end of his post-fight, but John David Jackson had a lot to say. He said you were a cruiserweight in the ring, essentially, and then he made a big deal that you came in, you know, huge, like in a whole different weight class than Lewis. I know you hate being, you know, getting that accusation post the Triple G fight. That's been a big thing of you not weighing in on the scale. Can you make a comment on that?
Well, I mean, I make middleweight, and I'm probably the biggest middleweight because I skip leg day. You see my legs, I'm skinny at the bottom and I'm big up top, right? So it's not my fault, that's just the way things work. But I'm just a really big middleweight, and I can make it easy. This camp for me was the easiest. A big shout out to Chris Algieri. This camp was the easiest that I've made 160. I was able to have breakfast the morning of the weigh-in. I was able to feel good and feel strong. I can't help it if I'm a big middleweight. But that's not an excuse for anyone. Because if you're an elite, then you're elite and you know how to avoid certain shots. And I don't think he was really able to avoid much. I mean, he held and he grabbed and, you know, he ducked and dodged. But I'm just an elite fighter. It just so happens I'm one of the biggest middleweights in the world.
Danny,
yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Arias held a lot. Did the referee ever address that? You know, when he was speaking to you guys, because it didn't seem like it to me.
Yeah, I think the referee, he gave him a couple warnings. I would have liked him to give him a lot more warnings, but the referee did a stellar job, no complaints. He was in survival mode from the first round on. Once he got hurt, he was in survival mode. And it's really hard to stop a guy who's like experienced with the survival skills. He was grabbing, he was ducking, he was holding, and I really wanted to display my skills, and my trainer kept telling me, put your combinations together, start from the body, because that's where he would start when he started holding. I just started a little head hunting a little bit too much, but you know, it's just about the experience, and I gained a lot more experience in this fight than I've done in my previous fights for that reason alone.
Danny, was he better defensively than you thought, or would you not even say that he was being defensive because he was so looking to survive? How do you see it?
Yeah, I don't think it was, because when you're, you know, there's a difference from being defensive and trying to really survive. I mean, he swayed a couple punches, but like I said, I was really aiming to get the knockout. So at times it seems if I was swinging and missing, it's because I was really anxious. But I don't think he was the best defensive guy that I fought.
but he did a really good job at holding and surviving. I give him that. But he didn't pose any threat. He didn't hurt me at any time in the fight. And I was able to see all the shots. You know, he wasn't that fast of a guy. I just think I could have done better, but I did think I put on a good performance. A nice, strong 12 rounds for me and getting that experience where people think I'm this huge knockout artist. You know, it just shows my diversity.
Danny, were you surprised that he didn't stand in the middle of the ring like that?
Yes, I am. I think he fooled all you guys too. Like, I think with the lead up and build up to this fight, I think you guys really, as well as I did, thought he was going to stand in the middle of the ring and bang it out. So the first round, my mindset, I was going to be a little precautious and kind of, you know, be a little bit more defensive than I normally am. But when I started seeing him going backwards, when I wasn't really posing a threat, I said, okay, I see what type of party this is going to be. And it was actually worse than I thought, so.
I got two questions here. Danny, first, congrats on the performance.
Thanks, Al.
At what point in the fight did you realize, all right, this dude is in a straight survival mode, and I'm really not going to be able to stop, so let me just close the show, you know, win every round comfortably. Did you feel that way at any point in the fight?
Maybe the second half of the fight, and I knew that, because I thought that him being inexperienced and going 12 rounds, that I might get him in the 11th or 12th or 10th round in the championship rounds. But he was able still to survive, and even though I hurt him a couple times in the fights in the later portion, yeah, and that's credit to my trainer. He told me to go down to the body because every time I go for the head, the guy ducks down and holds, and you know, he just had survival skills. I mean, there's nothing I can say about it. I mean, it was just a learning experience.
My second question is for Eddie. What do you think of Danny's performance, you know, when you've been working with him with this first fight?
I think it was a masterclass. I think he was trying a bit hard too early. There's a lot of pressure on him tonight, and I know that he says a great line at the press conference, it's not my first rodeo, which is true, but also, you know, he wants to impress, he was keen to impress, and I think if Arias would have boxed the fight that he said he was going to fight, you would have seen a different performance, but what you saw was a masterclass from an elite middleweight, and this game is very tough, so to come out 12 rounds unscathed, really untouched, unmarked, and making a lot of money is really what this game's about. It's a very, very tough sport, and these fighters deserve every dollar they get, and they need to know exactly what the plan is. And the plan tonight was 12 rounds, win every round, have a couple of weeks off, back to the gym. And that's what it goes. Bank the performance, bank the money, move on to world titles. That's what it's all about. It's a very, very professional performance from Danny against a good young fighter. You know, I mean, I think he realised that he was a bit out of his depth during the fight, but you know, he's a good young fighter, Luis Arias. But what you saw was an elite middleweight. So I saw what I knew, which is Danny Jacobs is one of, in my opinion, the best middleweight in the world. And you'll see his level rise, as you do always, when he steps up against the even better guys.
I mean, hey, listen, I just think, you know, to add to what he's saying, I just think you can't really knock out everyone, but I showed, you know, bits and pieces of my different attributes. I think once he got a feel of the power, that's when I was able to put my combinations together in the later portions of the round. So that's early on when I said the pressers and the building up of this fight that I wanted to show my levels. And even though I could have done a better job, I do feel like I did just that.
I think he realized in the first round that he's outclassed.
Yeah.
You know, I seen it in his face. But you said it in the post interview. You said, you know, it takes a while to let go of some of that anger and that anxiousness. Is it still there now? Are you going to go on Instagram
I just finished seeing his mom, and she came up and we spoke, and we said there's nothing but love and respect. Like, at the end of the day, you know, we human, you know, and the back and forth talk, yeah, it's going to get under my skin, but I respect him. Like, you know.
Did you want to say on camera, who ran now?
No, that's not it. No, that's not. No, I would never disrespect him. My skills spoke for me inside that ring, and that's really, at the end of the day, what it's all about. You know.
Your speed, you look really fast. Your speed was really impressive.
I felt good, and I was able to utilize my jab a lot more, which my trainer loves, because in the last fight, we kind of strayed away from that. And I think just adding different pieces to the puzzle as we get in this experience. So I don't look at 12 rounds with a guy who many feel like I could have stopped as a defeat or a loss. I look at it as progression.
But what it is that no one really knows him because he's never fought anybody, so we don't know if he can even be stopped.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing too. I've said leading up to this fight that you have to respect a guy like this because a lot of people in the inner circle, the boxing world, know this guy and he has respect amongst the boxing community. He's just not known to the world, and that's why I had to be on my A game and expect, his very best.
Congratulations, Daniel.
Thank you.
I know this week you've been sort of avoiding looking further than Luis Arias and giving him the respect that he deserves.
Absolutely.
Now that's done, who would be your #1 target if Eddie Hearn could make something happen for you?
My #1 target. I mean, how do you say a #1 target in a division with so many different great contenders and champions? Obviously, I want to go for the best. But if it doesn't happen, then we have a list full of guys that we can pursue. And it's ultimately about really what the fans want and what makes sense.
With David Lemieux, Billy Joe Saunders being tied up, as we spoke about, looks like Canelo Golovkin's going to be potentially tied up. Does that leave Charlo? Would that be the fight to tick your boxes?
Charlo, like I've said before, I want to fight the very best. And Charlo just moving up to the middleweight division. Some would say he has a lot to work for. Some would say he hasn't really proven anything to be calling out these big names and stuff like that, but I'll definitely give him a shot.
What about some of the British guys who've just had that exposure back in the UK?
Yeah.
There's some great middleweights back on the UK shores, the likes of Martin Murray. I'm sure he would jump on an opportunity. Does that interest you? Does that tick any boxes?
I'm not sure if Martin Murray makes sense. I think that's going a little bit further down the line. I respect him, but I just think we want fights that make sense. We want fights that's going to catapult our careers to the next level, not fights where people expect us to win.
Okay.
Yeah.
You had a lot of success out of the southpaw position. I think maybe even the knockdown occurred when you had switched to southpaw.
Oh, I did not. I forgot. It was a. Oh, okay. Yeah, my bad. I forgot I knocked him down.
Is that something that maybe we can see come out earlier in your fights, or do you wish you had kind of switched around earlier? Because it seemed confusing.
Well, I mean, I just really, once my jab was flowing, I just stuck to what worked. And I switched southpaw to see if I can get the knockout because I wanted to go for overhand left. But it's just how I feel in the middle of the ring. It's how I feel in the moment, and it comes out when it's necessary. But I love switching southpaw. As you've seen, I've been doing it my whole entire career. I'm pretty good at it. I could be better, right, Pops? Could be a lot better, but boxing is a forever going learning process, and I'm always going to be a student of the game.
But it seems like you're more effective from a southpaw stance. Could you fight an entire fight?
I believe I can fight an entire fight, but you got to understand. All right, RJ.
Don't talk my baby.
All right.
Don't talk my baby into trying. Not yet.
But see, you got to understand, I have respect for this game. And when you're at an elite level, you have to fight elite. And fight an entire fight southpaw, I don't know. I mean, I would love to do it, but, I have to choose wisely who I do it against.
After fighting Triple G and seeing, Triple G and Canelo, do you still consider Triple G the scorpion of the division?
No, I think I'm the scorpion of the division. I just think I'm now the most avoided guy, where Triple G had that claim. But like I said before, my job is really to continue that ladder because I don't cry over spilled milk, and I hate talking about. I felt like I won the fight. I felt like, and then people, it's just a forever going argument. But I'm going to continue now that I have this new chapter. I'm in a great position. We're chasing these guys, but we don't need these guys. We're going to do what we have to do because at the end of the day, as long as I do what I have to do in the ring and win, it's going to be by popular demand. And they're not going to have a corner to run to because, the people speaks for, what's real.
Danny, to use
Yes, sir.
an expression you like to use, what level do you see yourself on right now?
Right now, what level? I mean, I'm at the top level, I believe. I'm just a little rusty now, but in my next fight, I think I'll be a lot more sharper, depending on who we fight. I think you'll be able to see the same skills and more.
1 of 3. Is the answer. That's the level.
Danny, how soon do you want to get back in there? You keep talking about the rust. How many months?
We're going to be back in there in April. We're going to have the date, the venue, and the specifics. What, in a week's time? Couple days? Yeah. And that gives me great confidence to know that I can plan when I'm going to be back in the gym. I can plan my life. I can plan certain things and not have to worry about that. I'm in a really, really great position.
Daniel, you seem relentless in there, like you just walked through Luis Arias and not worrying about what was coming back at times.
Yeah.
Having been in with Golovkin, does that give you a confidence that you can take what these guys are going to throw at you? And you're not
Absolutely.
sort of worried as much?
When you've taken the best punch that people consider the boogeyman, it gives you that extra level of confidence that you can take punch from you know, anyone. You know, I take a really good shot, and this, what Arias is saying with this whole I have a weak chin, he had an opportunity to hit me and hurt me and do all these different things. He didn't do it. And even when he landed a big shot, I came right at him. You know, sometimes I was doing certain moves and abandoning my defense just to show him, like, come on, I want to fight. I want to do exactly what you say. I don't want to run. And I never took a step backwards.
Eddie, could we expect to see, I know you came all the way from the UK to showcase.
I like that hat, man. Nice Batman hat.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I know you came to showcase Danny Jacobs tonight. Danny, great performance.
Thank you, brother.
Also, we saw Jarrell, Big Baby Miller in there. He spoke about Dillian White, the possibility of that fight happening, and HBO being involved with Danny. I'm sure he didn't get involved with that network, neither did you, not to say that Luis Arias isn't a big name, but we could expect to see a bigger name opponent in April alongside Danny and maybe a Dillian White, Jarrell Miller situation. Could you talk about that possibility? Because, I mean, it would seem that you wanted to showcase him to a British UK audience, and as much as, I mean, we already know Danny here. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the UK audience is very mature now in terms of boxing. There's a lot more fanatical audience in the UK than there is in America in terms of knowledge, in terms of, you know, they'll be sitting up tonight watching Danny Jacobs box at 4 o'clock in the morning. And, you know, there's no plans to box in the UK yet. We're not going to rule that out, but his next fight will be in Brooklyn. And Jarrell Miller's a part of the plan as well, because, you know, I think the Dillian White fight's a great fight as well. In terms of Danny stepping up to the next level, he's quite right. You know, we will do what we want to do, but we understand we have to provide good quality fights and fights that people are interested in. In an ideal world, he'd fight Golovkin next. You know, and if that was available and the rematch didn't happen, maybe we'd do that. If not, we'd like to fight the winner of Saunders-Lemieux. If we can't do that, maybe we fight Charlo. If we can't do that, maybe we fight someone else. But we are also governed by our network, who won't just let us fight, you know, Tom, Dick or Harry. It's going to have to be a top quality middleweight. And, you know, Danny Jacobs, one thing he's shown time and time again is he'll fight anyone. It's not a case of, oh, he'll be turning down opponents. But, you know, we need the right opponent. But this is about building Danny Jacobs into a position where the fight is unavoidable for the likes of Canelo and Golovkin. We're not sitting out here saying, oh, hopefully we get a shot against these guys. Like, no disrespect to Lemieux and Saunders, I see Danny Jacobs on a whole new level to those guys in terms of ability and hopefully in terms of profile as well and draw. So that's the level we want to get to, where actually they're coming to us saying, oh, is there any chance of a shot with Danny?
Having fought Golovkin, some would say it will be fair.
Yeah, 100%. Listen, he's nowhere near the size of the star he should be after that Golovkin performance. Okay? So in my opinion, he beat Golovkin. In other people's, you know, maybe it was a draw. Maybe it was 1 round to Golovkin. But you couldn't split the fight. So there's this guy who is supposed to be this animal, this superstar in Gennady Golovkin. And here's a guy who has bundles more charisma, just as much talent. He's from Brooklyn. You know, he should be absolutely mobbed on every street in New York State. Yeah? So that's really my job. And if I would have had him leading into the Golovkin fight, maybe we'd be in that position now. But we're building as well. We're not just building in the ring, we're building outside of the ring.
Hey,
so,
why don't you think those things have happened for him since the Golovkin fight?
Sorry?
Why haven't those things happened?
Because he didn't have a promoter behind him. Because he didn't have activity behind him. You know, you can't come out of a fight like that and a performance like that and not scream and shout. And he's not the kind of guy to scream and shout, but you need a vehicle behind you to push you and make noise. That we should have won that fight, that we want the rematch, that we're the best middleweight in the world. That's just standard behaviour, standard promotional literature.
This deal with Eddie seems like it makes sense. After the fight week and now the fight is over, like how's the experience with Eddie? I mean,
this is the most promotion I've received, I think, in my whole the last 3 months. I mean, I was out in dinner last night, and they were showing my commercial about 4 or 5 times in between the NBA games. So, I mean, it's just stuff like that that I feel like, you know, it's going to catapult my career to the next level. Having a guy investing into me and a network investing to promoting me, you know, and it just makes sense, and I'm glad it came at the perfect time.
Eddie, not sure if Joe DeGuardia is here, but Danny and Demetrius Andre have history, having fought previously in amateurs and things of that nature. Start boxing, you just co-promoted the show with him. How feasible is that fight taking place?
Yeah, again, no disrespect to Demetrius Andrade, and I put Charlo in the same bracket as well, and I put Saunders in the bracket and Lemieux in the bracket. I see Danny Jacobs as a level beyond those guys. Doesn't mean we won't fight them, because they're very good fighters, but we're really trying to establish ourselves as the major name in the division, and that's why I said about the three, because I really feel like there is a three, and that is Canelo, Golovkin and Danny Jacobs. That's, for me, the big three in the division. Doesn't mean we won't fight Andrade, Charlo, Lemieux, but you know, our plan is to be in the mix with those guys. So, you know, we want to make sure that we are up there as a brand, as a fighter, you know. So, yeah, Andrade. At the end of the day, I don't decide who Danny Jacobs fights. You know, we'll speak to the network, then we'll sit down with Keith, we'll put it forward to Danny and the training team, and ultimately they'll make a decision. But we're doing our own thing. We're not really chasing anyone in particular. We're going to do our own thing.
Eddie, before the fight, you said if Jarrell Miller beat Marius Block convincingly or impressively, he might be in line for an Anthony Joshua shot. After tonight, where do you...
It was a good win. I mean, look, this is the Danny press conference, but, you know, Marius Wack, TKO 9, is a very, very solid scribe on a heavyweight's career. You know, he's been beaten a couple of times by top-level guys, Vladimir Klitschko, Povetkin. These are top. And Jarrell wore him down. I think Jarrell has a lot of learning to do. I think he shouldn't be stepping in just yet. He needs one or two more before he gambles. And again, I'd like to see him bank the money. You know, this is a tough sport. Bank the money before you gamble. And that's what Jarrell Miller needs to do. He needs to come back. I'd love him to box on our card in April. He's from Brooklyn as well. You know, he's an exciting heavyweight. He would have learned so much fighting the likes of Marius Wack. But again, Marius Wack, TKO 9, is a very, very impressive win and puts him probably 1 or 2 steps away from fighting for the world heavyweight title.
Danny. Did you notice Arias favoring his foot because he said he had a blister on his sock?
Oh, he had a blister now. Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
Those pesky blisters.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe if he didn't run, or if he had met me in the middle, he wouldn't have had
surgery on that blister now.
Surgery on it. Much respect to
He
Arias.
actually left with his foot in a splint. It was on top of the foot.
Yeah, man, listen. You know, at the end of the day, it speaks for itself. Yeah.
Danny, can you describe your experience at Nassau Coliseum for the first time?
It's been amazing. I've loved the experience. You know, Brooklyn spread love. That's my motto. And I would love to fight all over the world. I love to fight and give people who haven't had an opportunity to see me fight live. You know, so coming to the islands, I'm still a New Yorker, still have people come out and show support and give these Long Islanders a great show. I really felt that's what we did. We accomplished. Me and Baby Miller put on a great show for the fans along with the rest of the undercards. And I look forward to continuing that legacy. I think, you know, Barclays Center obviously makes more sense because that's where I have my biggest draw. And, you know, we really have opportunity to sell this one out. But, you know, that's about building our brand. And that's really the experience that we have. And we're going to continue to climb that ladder. I'm glad that I had an opportunity to come to Nassau Coliseum and perform in front of these people.
Eddie, what's your assessment of your first show here in the U.S., and moving forward, what would you do differently?
It's a great learning experience, and you know, I want to thank obviously our team at Matchroom, done a great job, and the co-promoters on the show as well, Salita Promotions, Joe LaGuardia, Rock Nation, Golden Boy. I think that's a marker for us that we're willing to work with anybody in boxing and not let the politics of the game spoil fights for the fans. Again, working with partners like HBO, Sky Sports, Brooklyn Boxing. I want to thank Brett Yormack, Anthony Cantanzaro, and all the team at Brooklyn. Gina up the back there.
And my man Keith Connolly.
Keith, yeah, well, I've got onto him. Man. But Brooklyn Boxing, you know, what I've found is there's very few venues that really drive the action, and Brooklyn Boxing do it. Well, what have I found about the market? Too early to say. Little bit of a lack of noise but I'm comparing it to the UK fans who are crazy, who are dancing around, singing, jumping around, and you know, that's going to take time to understand. But everybody's got 2 arms, 2 legs, and a heartbeat, and they love a great time. And boxing's the greatest sport in the world. So I feel like tonight was a nice, solid start for us. I think we'll be back in the city for the next fight. And quite right, as Danny says, Keith Connolly, thank you very much for all your help. There's few managers who care as much for their fighters as Keith Connolly.
Yeah, I agree.
And you'd think that actually he was Danny's dad rather than his manager. But he's done a wonderful job for Danny Jacobs, and it's great working with both of them.
So Eddie, so for now, it's just a New York thing?
No, we're going to be doing 4 shows. Look, my deal is I'm not exclusive with HBO. Okay? Danny Jacobs is exclusive with HBO. So we'll see where it takes Matchroom Boxing USA. Had 24 phone calls in the last 2 months from big name American fighters wanting to sign with Matchroom. I can't give them what they need. There's a big problem with American fighters that don't have the activity, and it's hurting them inside the ring and it's hurting them outside the ring. So Daniel Jacobs is the flag bearer for Matchroom Boxing. He's the ambassador for Matchroom Boxing, and we're going to put all our focus into him right now, and we'll see where it takes our business. But I don't want to start signing 20 fighters and promising this and promising that, and they're only boxing once a year, and I can't really get behind them. I can't deliver them the TV days. That's no good for anyone. So luckily for Danny, he gets our full attention for now. And listen, maybe in 6 months' time, maybe in a year's time, we've got 12 dates here. I need 12 to 16 dates a year from a network. That's what I need.
Thank you. Eddie, any conflicts with Frank Warren and Saunders in regards to British TV?
Listen, I haven't got the best relationship, but I'd still work with Frank Warren, no problem. But, I think Saunders has shown his willingness to travel. I don't know how long he's got left on his contract with Warren, but he's willing to go to Canada. So I don't see why he wouldn't be willing to come to New York for a payday. I know Billy Joe Saunders very well. I talk to him often. And he's a little bit crazy, but he likes, as we say in Britain, he likes a pound note, which means he likes $1. So again, Billy's a very good fighter and he's world champion, but I don't perceive him to be like Daniel Jacobs, but he has a belt. And all this building the brand, all this sort of stuff, we're still in it for the glory. Right. We're still in it for the belts. As much as Danny wants to be a star and listen to me talking and building him up, he wants a belt around his waist.
Very true.
So that's the end goal. But we're only in the short term now. I have one more question if anyone's got one, guys.
What were you saying to him during the fight? Were you saying don't run?
Yes, I was. That's exactly what I was saying. And then I was pointing to the ground. When you make your foot go across, like, hey, listen, this is where I'm going to be. I said, don't run. Why are you running? He said, I'm not running. I'm boxing. And I was thinking in my head, that's the same thing I was doing with Triple G, but you was calling that running. But, I called this bluff, and you guys were able to see exactly what I was saying, that there's levels to this game. I have nothing but respect for that young man, him and his family. He was a great opponent, but I went out and showed that there was levels to this game. And we're going to do better each and every time out. I just want to thank my team, Team Jacobs, Andre Rozier, Victor Roundtree. Oh, up in heaven, that's my trainer. God bless him, I miss him. Anthony Irons, Chris Algieri, Mike Rella, my main man, Scooty Scoot, my conditioning trainer, and my brother from another, Keith Connolly. I just want to thank everybody for always making sure that, I'm in the best space possible to give my best. Boxers go through so much. I mean, you guys only see 36 minutes inside the ring, but it's a lot that goes on the outside. And to have a family that really genuinely care about you and support you like their own, I mean, it's priceless. So I just want to thank my team. Thank you, guys.
I'd just like to say as well, great job, Coach. Great job, Chris Algieri as well. Great job on the way. And Scooter, I'll tell you what, I've not seen a fighter work that hard over 12 rounds and still not be breathing. Well done. Well done, guys. Thanks for the support.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.